Eamon Khan here for Seconds Out with Harlem Eubank and Chris Eubank, Senior. Harlem, I'll start with yourself. A good fight there to watch as a ringside observer. I just wonder how you feel of your performance reflecting on the victory and getting the stoppage.
Feel great. Timo Schwarzkopf. It's a guy that's coming off back-to-back victories, never been stopped before. That shows what I can do. 11 years of blood, sweat and tears, and I'm the WBO global champion, and I'm going up to 147 now. My legs were cramping in there from round 6, and I found a way, came through it, and got him out of there in good fashion. CONOR BENN, 147, that's where it's at now.
Yeah, the weight was a point of contention coming into the fight. How did you feel that reflected in terms of your performance? How much of yourself was in there in the ring tonight?
I found a way, and that's what we do as warriors. We go into the ring and we find a way to win. And like I say, my legs were seizing up from round 6, and had to get them massaged in between rounds, to keep moving around the ring. And I found a way and pulled it out, and that's what we do. That's what we go into the ring with the mindset to find any way we can to come out victorious.
Chris, can I ask you what advice were you giving to Harlem in between rounds to help him and guide him through to getting the victory?
Okay, my advice was based on the fact that he had to drain himself down to 140. Okay, and I know what it is to fight a fighter who will not stop coming forward. So, Timo was relentless. He never stopped coming forward, and that can break a man's heart, especially when you are fighting without any fluid in your body. He's had to rehydrate. He's had one day, and he got through it. And that proves to me that he's got nothing but heart. And that means CONOR BENN, it's your backside. That I can say. I believe he called you something. I believe he got his name wrong. He called you
Harry, I think.
Okay.
But Harry's coming for him. Harry is coming for him.
And if he got that wrong, and if he's actually being disrespectful, then is there a name you have for him?
I think Numpty's fitting, but Harry will be on his boxing board of control record with a loss. So I'm ready. Harry's ready. We're ready, and we're WBO global champion. I don't see his championship.
He doesn't have a championship. What he has is a promoter who bigs him up, always putting him on these TV shows, but he doesn't have a belt and he doesn't have a license. Surely you can see that the name that he's now given you and your team, what's the name again?
Numpty.
Okay, surely you know that he's not wrong. It means you're blockheaded. It means you're dense. Okay, don't be that. Nigel, speak to your son. Tell him not to follow what you did. Don't encourage him to do what you did by tearing up your license. It was a really good piece of television back in the 90s. You need your license. Without your license, you can do nothing in boxing. You cannot have a legacy without. You have to live by the rules. Those rules have been there from the dawn of time, 1. 2, they are there to protect us. Dawn of time? Okay, from time immemorial. The rules are there to protect us from ourselves and from people who would take advantage of us. Okay, so look again at what's going on in your camp. I said, I think you do brilliant against Junior. I do. Why? Because he's going to boil down to 160. You saw what he looked like at 159. Emaciated. That's not a fight. That's the work for an assassin. And that's what they're turning you into. An assassin for one guy. And you're destroying your entire career. You go to the States and take those guys out. You have the ability. I've always backed you. I've never said that you juiced up, that you knew anything about it. It's the people around you. Look at them. I'm not accusing them, but it's somebody, but you have to think twice about your position. Now, look where you are. You're in no man's land. You have people around you who are saying this, it's nonsense. You're in no man's land. 19-0, 19 wins, no losses. Okay, so he's got a belt. That belt is enough to actually propagate a 12-round fight. So now you have a championship to fight for. That's a stadium fight. That will get 90,000 people. I've just said it. In boxing, I don't get it wrong. Because I'm the best. I'm simply the best. Ask your daddy. Rastafari.
Final question. Let's just quickly switch my hands around here. Speaking of positions, there was a position that should have been occupied, I believe, or at least an invite was sent to CONOR BENN to take a position at a ringside seat. Wasn't occupied there tonight, Chris. Why do you feel it wasn't occupied by CONOR BENN tonight?
Well, I didn't hear about that, but it wouldn't have been occupied because, again, he's in no man's land. You're a big threat. You are. But you don't have a license. What they're setting you up for is to go to a place where they're out of the jurisdiction of the law. The British Boxing Board of Control, Robert Smith. Let me rephrase that, Mr. Smith. Because he's going to start actually putting people into their places where they should be. You have to follow the law. It's there to protect you from them and you from yourself. Yeah. And you and your dad your dad should be teaching you this. But I don't mind actually being a surrogate daddy to you. I love you. I've always loved you. On stage, I was always talking about you. Your daddy told me to stop talking about you, that he wanted to talk about you, and that I shouldn't actually tell people how fantastic I think you are as a fighter. I do think you're fantastic. But now I'm looking after the gold, and the gold beats you. And when you want to go to war with him when the fight happens, you're going to run into a surprise. And that surprise is going to be, solid gold. Rastafari.
Pleasure listening to you. Pleasure watching you in the ring. Congratulations on the victory, Harlem. Chris Eubank Sr. Thank you very much for speaking to Seconds Out.